Hey, I'm Fede Pacheco here in another episode of the Hybrid Cloud Partners podcast, along with my teammate Adam Burke. How are you doing, Adam?
Hey, doing great, Fede. Excited to continue our conversation today around scaling profitably with the DCO program and the data center optimization team. Always a favorite topic.
How do you know the topic for today? I wanted to keep it a surprise. But in all seriousness, I know we had such an awesome conversation in our last episode. Maybe it was not as fun to you and all the questions that I asked you, but we talked about how thousands of partners have leveraged the DCO team to achieve more, and especially those that are under SPLA, that have a private cloud practice, how we're helping them achieve more on their business, right? So if you haven't checked that episode, I truly recommend that you take a look. I asked Adam, again, some tough questions, but it seems like he had heard some of them before because he was prepared for them. And during the overview that Adam provided, he mentioned some of the resources that a partner can leverage when they are on CSP, cloud solution provider. And we thought, you know what? Actually, let's dive deeper into some of the things that Adam touched a little bit because they are of great interest of our partners, and they're a common conversation in those initial topics that Adam and his team have. Do you remember what those topics that we're going to cover today are, Adam?
I think if I think of the most value that we can provide to partners, three key topics. I would say Cloud Ascent. That's a platform that allows you to really kind of get some insights into your customers from a Microsoft lens. We use both, AI and machine learning to predict really where the salient opportunities are for your customers and help you, see some demand signals that you may not always recognize if you're depending on kind of the conversations you've had with them directly. Array, the Azure Rapid Assessment Estimator, that's a tool that we've built within our team to really help estimate migration costs in a rapid fashion. And finally, the Cloud Migration Factory. And that's a resource where we can help you with your customers' migrations so you can really kind of focus on what you do best.
All right, I love that. Let's dive into these three. Starting off with Cloud Ascend, how do you see that partners really benefit from this?
Yeah. So, we take hundreds and hundreds of signals when we build Cloud Ascent data and when we look to share it back with our partners. And that's all customer signals around buying. So we're really looking at both intent signals, kind of from high to low, and then really account fit. How well does that fit based on you as the partner and the solutions that you're offering? And what stage is that? And if you're just getting started in this, you can access this data inside Partner Center. If you log in and you don't see it in Partner Center, it's probably because of a permissions issue. So you can kind of validate the permissions with other folks on your team there. But essentially, you can get this data right in Partner Center. And if you filter into the Act Now opportunities, that's really where you're going to want to have a customer conversation with ASAP because there's buying signals from those customers that they're looking to take advantage of these incremental technologies and capabilities. And that's a great way that we really help our partners, find sometimes their first or perhaps their next customer when it comes to Azure.
Yeah, and that's so valuable. We were talking last episode about, the concern of a customer leaving us is huge. So having that visibility of where do I need to prioritize my time and what do I need to offer and where are the most salient opportunities. Now, what does it take for a customer to appear in Cloud Ascend? Would a partner under SPLA have their customers in Cloud Ascend?
So, you really need to be leveraging CSP to be able to see that. So we know that you have the ability to sell these customers these solutions. So if you only have SPLA, you're not going to see Cloud Ascent. That's going to be a CSP capability. And then we need to have some validation that you've done business with these customers in the past. We have a lead gen motion. And so that's separate from this. We have ways that we will provide leads to our partners as well. But for Cloud Ascent, it's really looking at your existing customer opportunities and how do you upsell and cross-sell those customers.
And it becomes really magical. Once you're part of the DCO program, we can combine the data that we have on SPLA, combine with the customers that are on Cloud Ascend to really get you the most salient opportunities. Again, when you look at what you mentioned about Act Now, we've seen a really successful close rate of those opportunities. So even when partners initially don't think that they have an opportunity there, we're able to direct them to the right conversation to have. Before we move on, Adam, is there anything else that you want to share on the success we've seen with partners on their Splat using Cloud Ascent for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with partners where they haven't heard of Cloud Ascent. They maybe go in and they're like, I don't think that customer is interested in X, Y, or Z. And we're like, why don't you just have a conversation with them? Because we're seeing buying signals. And, we have heard so much positive feedback from customers that have done that. It could have been that maybe they were talking to someone that was, not necessarily associated with that project directly, but they found out there was another project going on at the customer. And so they won new business. It also could be, we've heard, hey, I didn't think you did that. And so by the partner bringing up that conversation with the customer, they've already got that great established relationship. Now the customer knows this partner can meet their solution need, and the partner rapidly kind of wins new business. Have heard that many times from our partners. I think it's one of the great values we can provide them as part of that CSP program. And so, definitely encourage the partners that are listening to check that out and dig in a bit further there.
So just to summarize, Cloud Ascent is available on Partner Center. You need to be a cloud solution provider or a CSP partner. And you should also leverage the advice and the combination of Cloud Ascent with the knowledge of the DCO team and their experience. Now, the next topic that we have is Array, or Azure's Rapid Assessment Estimator. Adam, can you tell us, why did the team create this tool with other options like Azure Migrate out there, and what is the value that it brings?
So for Array, and if you've worked with Microsoft for any length of time, we love our acronyms. So Array is really a great tool that helps rapidly estimate what your costs are. Azure Migrate is awesome as well. The challenge we saw with Azure Migrate is it requires, a deployment into an existing infrastructure. And sometimes partners don't necessarily want to take that step with their customers. It could be because they're not ready to signal to their customer that there's an Azure migration that could take place. There's a variety of reasons why, but Array is really a data-driven approach. It lives in Excel. And so if you have something like an RV Tools export, you can drop that into Array and really within 15 minutes have a good understanding of what your costs could look like. And then also ways you can optimize them as well. We have some refactoring capabilities that you can look to leverage if you want to take advantage of some PaaS services. A super common one is moving like file servers to Azure Files. You can layer in additional services that you may not have. Like maybe you have a third-party firewall solution, and when you move to Azure, you want to add in Azure firewalls. You can easily kind of spec some of those things in, and really take a data-driven approach to get what that Azure cost model is likely to be. And so we see partners that leverage Array. There's really just kind of a ton of value there in terms of benefiting from that tool.
That's wonderful. And you can learn more about Array in our DCO website. You can see some demos, and you can obviously reach out to Adam and his team to put it into practice. It's such a powerful tool, right? With Cloud Ascent, we help identify opportunities, and with Array, we really help size them. Now, how does the cloud migration factory, that third bucket that we were going to talk today, how does it fit into all of this?
Yeah, Cloud Migration Factory is really Microsoft-funded resources that can help move supported workloads into Azure. And they can help with hybrid deployments of solutions like Azure Arc. So if you're a partner that wants to deploy Azure Arc, maybe you're looking to take advantage of some cost savings around Arc-enabled SQL, we have resources that can help do that deployment on your behalf. The same thing is true if you're looking for a migration. We have resources that can perform those migration capabilities. We just need a bit of information in terms of the customer detail, the specs, the timing, and we can bring in resources that can really help to drive this process. So a huge way to reduce your migration costs or your hybrid deployment costs as you're looking at kind of some of these new capabilities here.
That's wonderful. These three resources that we overviewed today are exciting because none of them take a long time to deploy, right? A partner can be part of DCO today and start deploying with Cloud Ascend, with the Cloud Migration Factory, and with Array. The name says it's rapid. You said 15 minutes. So you really can get a sense of the opportunities, and that really complements beyond the technology what you can do being a DCO partner. In the previous episode, we had an interview with a partner that had been through DCO for years. To wrap up this episode, we want to show you an interview with a partner that just joined DCO within the last 12 months and what their experience has been like so far. And how did they join DCO? You might be wondering. Well, they just reached out through the DCO website. So if you're still curious about what DCO can offer for your business, we encourage you to follow those steps because we went from complete strangers to close strategic partners in a second. Adam, again, I think this is the second episode in a row that I blasted you with questions, and you did such a good job. Thank you for that.
Hey, thanks so much, Fede. Always enjoy the conversations. Before we jump in, if you're wondering how these opportunities fit in your organization, remember that our DCO team is here and available anytime to discuss these topics at no cost to you. You can connect with our team at dco.microsoft.com.
What started with a click ended up having a significant business impact for Heartland Business Systems. They signed up to talk to our DCO team in our website and ended up having a whole strategy to increase their investment in Azure and to really unlock the possibilities for their customers. I'm here with Michael Gauthier. He is a cloud architect team manager at Heartland Business Systems, and he's here to tell us that story. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Sure. So tell us a bit of the last few months. How has it been since you reached out to the DCO team last August, I believe it was?
Yes, that is correct. It's been a fast couple of months. I'll say probably a noticeable uptick the last 6 months just in our overall Azure opportunities with customers, the work that we're doing, and the customer migrations that are landing in Azure. We've seen a big uptick both in, I would say, our primary business, right, running server workloads in Azure, but also in some of the other areas in Azure too, around Azure Arc, Defender for servers on the security side of the house. And now coming to the forefront right now, a lot of opportunities around Azure Stack HCI and customer interest in that area. Those haven't started to land and deploy yet. Most of them are still in the design and planning phase, but we see that being a really big area probably for the next 6 months.
That's awesome. Nothing is more important than understanding all your options so that you can offer them to your customers. Tell me a bit more about the impact that it's had on your business.
Yeah, from a business impact, the thing it's really helped with is just helped us to accelerate the pace of adoption. It gave us the opportunity to invest more in some of the early pre-sales efforts to drive a bigger funnel and to get Azure opportunities in front of more customers so that we could find those where it made good business sense for the customer and good solutions, which at the end of the day, end up driving more migrations and more momentum.
It's great to hear that the DCO team could help in all of those aspects. If a partner is watching this and they're considering reaching out to the DCO team, what would be your advice?
I would recommend to do it, right? To reach out. To this day, even talking with you now, I look back and go, wow, I don't know how we found this program. I think you introduced it as a click on a website because that's literally all it was. Didn't know the team members that we're now working with. Obviously glad now that we do, that we're able to make those introductions and get that program fired up because it had a big impact. But yeah, to your point, it was a website and an opportunity to go, whoa, that looks like it may be a fit for us. We should explore it. And I would recommend other partners do the same. The other thing I would recommend too that was noticeable in our organization is Azure is a big space. It has a lot of options in different areas. So making sure you just look at it in all of if you have multiple business units, everything from Defender for servers in the security space to Azure Stack HCI in the on-prem space to obviously the traditional things like Azure workloads and servers, web apps, etc. So explore it fully, because even if it's just a fit for one, it's worth the benefits.
For sure. Azure is so big that it's important to understand all the capabilities it has and to let your teams know that. So I'm glad the DCO team has been able to help you along that journey with some technical advice, some sales advice and guidance. Michael, thank you so much for your time today. And I would encourage our partners, that if you're watching this and still considering what your options are in the cloud or hybrid cloud space, to reach out to our DCO team. We're sure we can help you design a better strategy for you and for your customers. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Microsoft's data center optimization team. Be sure to stay connected at dco.microsoft.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.